Let's get started. So the first question I want to ask you guys, what would you do if your business partner or your employee was AI? So let's think about it. If you have your own business, or let's say you want to have your own business, if I told you, I'm going to give you an employee right now, but it's going to be an AI employee, how do you feel about that? Happy? Saving money, right? You'd be okay with that? You wouldn't be a bit like, yeah, be like, money, yeah, you're saving a salary, yeah, but it's not a human. How would you feel? They would do most of the work. But this is the thing, this is what's happening now. Like, they are becoming your assistant. This is kind of my toolkit from a business perspective. But as an academic, I do have another toolkit, and I have done a video on this recently at a different talk. So check that out if you want to see the academic toolkit. But this one is more for the business side of things, like what I use to help me with ideation, content creation, marketing. Canva's a big one for, like, this presentation is on Canva, design, editing, writing, just thinking. Like, this is my brain, my second brain. So all of these free, but this one, Gemini paid, is very good, but I use the free. I'll show you what I use for the free. Notion, PaperPal, all free actually. And now I do have the paid, but they gave it to me because I was working with them, but it is really, really cheap. Like, I would pay for it. Yeah, all free. Oh, Canva was paid, but I didn't pay for it. I was teaching at the time, and if you're a teacher, you can get it for free, or an educator, but I would pay for it, 100%. But yeah, mostly free. So these are all things that are helping me right now in my business. So technically, if I had an employee, they would be doing the things that these tools are doing. So technically, I do have an AI employee, and that's the way you need to think about it. How can you use these tools to support you and tell it what to do the same way you tell an AI, a human, to do these things? And think about your business. If you think about the things that you do that you're like, I wish I could automate this. I wish I could just get something or someone else to, think about 10 blog post ideas. I wish I could get someone to write these blog posts for me, for my marketing. AI can do that, So these are the things that I've started to give to AI to do. So looking at stats, I don't know if you guys work for a company as well as a business, if you have your own business, but actually 71% of companies now are using or are planning to use AI in some way. So, I know we're talking about our kids and knowing how to use it for our kids, but actually for us, we'll be in the workplace until another 30 years, maybe another 40 years, possibly. And by then, every company will be using AI 100%. There was a friend that I spoke to recently, and she was saying that she lost out on a job 2 weeks ago because they wanted someone who had accounting experience, which she does, but also AI. And she didn't have the AI side. And she's like in her late 20s, she's still really young, but she didn't have that experience, which is so unfortunate because she's an accountant by qualification, but doesn't have the AI experience. So it's so important for us. I don't know if you guys heard the news in the UAE, they've made AI part of the academic education now. So, this is the step forward. All schools are going to be including AI the way that we had IT in schools when we were in school. So it's really important. Don't get left behind. We have to know how to use this. So I want to ask you, I want to know kind of what level, let's say from 0, never touched it, to 10, I'm a pro, what number would you say you are?
I think 4, I can say.
4?
Yeah.
9, okay. We've got 9 over here.
3, 4.
3, 4?
Same.
3, 4?
7.
7, good, pretty good. Okay, pretty good.
Up to 5.
5, nice.
6, 7.
Yeah?
Same.
Okay.
6, 7, 8.
Good. I mean, that means that we're starting to use it, which is amazing. But, at what level, how quickly can we get to 9, 10? How quickly can we get there? Because if businesses now want us to be proficient, they're going to be looking for 9, 10. And if we're at 1, 2, we'll lose out. Nice to meet you. We'll lose out on those opportunities if we're still stuck on 2, 3. So what are some concerns? I've been using AI now since it launched 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago now. These are the problems that I've kind of seen in the last especially in the last year, as people have used it a bit more. So things like reliability, how true is what it's saying? Privacy is a really big one. If you're a researcher, don't put your data in it. Lack of training. Yes, schools are using it, kids are using it, but do teachers actually know how to use it? Do teachers actually know? They're just saying, don't use it, or don't use this, but do they know how to teach students how to use it properly? Being too reliant. I caught myself so many times just being like, going on ChatGPT to ask questions that I would normally ask like Google, or just maybe I'll just think about it, I'm like, it's a really basic question. Even I can't remember what it was I wrote the other day, and my husband was like, you could just like ask Google that. You don't have to go on ChatGPT for everything, but I'm finding myself using it as like a second brain, and I think it's good and it's bad, because now imagine kids or children, young generation who haven't used Google and they're just using ChatGPT. They're going to rely on it so heavily, it'll be scary. And then, obviously intellectual property. If you're thinking about starting your own business, what information do you put in these tools that use it to train itself, and things like that. So just a quick question, do you feel like you've got a concern within business that you're still worried about a little bit, that AI, a result of AI?
Privacy, probably because we deal with the financial data. And I think, only those cases we wanted to put it in the on-premises.
Yeah.
So that is there. Though that gives we can just get the work done probably 5 minutes to 10 minutes, but the clients are not very happy to just put the data or to share.
Yeah, so financial data, that's a big one.
Sometimes misinformation.
Yeah, misinformation is a big one.
Yeah, reliability. You cannot rely on the data given by this any of this AI.
Yeah.
You need to double check, even though they provide the data, certain parameters, certain things that we miss out.
Yeah.
So how you generate the prompt matters a lot.
Yes, this is a big one.
Important.
Yeah.
And also, even if it generates, also you need to double check.
Yeah.
That's where the human intervention is needed.
Yeah. There's something called prompt engineering, which is where, if I write down, I don't know, what percentage of people use AI, I'll get 1%. If I write down what percentage of people use AI for education, I'll get a different number. What percentage of people in London use it? So the way that you engineer your prompt will give you a different statistic. And that's really, really important, because if I'm looking for information and you're looking for information, the same information could be different because we're writing the prompt differently. Very specific, very, very specific. There's a really good, let me show you actually. There's a really good course, free course that I'd recommend. It's called Google Prompt, this one. Very good. I do believe it's on YouTube as well for free. I think it's here as well. I think this is the free one. Yeah, this one. This is so good. Take a picture of it. It's 1.5 hours long. So it's the same version that's on Coursera. I don't know, it's free here, but it's paid on Coursera. It's really good. It's Google's course. It goes through how to prompt, the sections of a prompt, what the prompt means. It's really, really good. I watched the whole thing, and it goes through like different reasons why you will prompt. Like, for example, this is a task that you're giving it. This is the context of the task. Really good. If you have students, this is a really good thing. It is, so the Wi-Fi password is, I wrote it down. So it's Bureau Daily is a network name, and then it's Sunny, capital S, Sunny, and then Vibes, capital V, exclamation mark. So Sunny Vibes, exclamation mark, capital S, capital V. Yeah? Sunny Vibes. But yeah, if you want a good prompt engineering course, this one, these ones here on the side are someone summarizing the course, but it's really short. It's really good. Definitely watch it. So Bureau Daily, and then Sunny Vibes. Yeah. I truly think that prompt engineering, or prompting, hasn't been spoken about enough in AI. You just think, oh, ChatGPT, and you put information, but genuinely, if you don't write it in a way that's adding context, task, what you want, the detail, you'll get something very generic. So this makes and watching this makes such a big difference. I even learned so much. She goes through a lot about kind of what output you'd get, different parts of a prompt, things like that. So it's really, really useful. Yeah? Okay. Cool. So just a quick introduction, because I know some of you guys found me on Eventbrite and maybe haven't followed me on my social media. So this is me. Follow me, please. I'm trying to get to 400. I'm actually on 383 or something, so I'm nearly there. But numbers I don't really care about the numbers. But what's exciting is that it's a channel that hopefully can help you learn how to use AI in an ethical way for academia. A little bit of lifestyle here and there. Throw it in like you'd be bothered, but for the most part, it's trying to help you learn how to be a better academic, better researcher, be more productive, and use AI in an ethical way. So please follow me, and I think if you scan that, it takes you to my website, so you can contact me or email me for things on there as well. So, working smart or working harder? Right, that's the idea. When I think about AI and productivity and entrepreneurship and business, we want to work smart, right? If I'm sitting there and I'm working 9 to 5, 5 days a week, and I'm struggling through it, I'm just working harder. I'm not necessarily working smarter, and the output will be the same. But if I'm using AI tools to be my assistant, to write things for me, to brainstorm for me, to create documents for me, create images, I can now work 5 hours a week, and I'm working smarter. Same output, me and you are going to do the same thing, but I'm now working a bit more smarter, and I now have more time to do other things, to have fun, to go out, or even just to work a bit more, but work on other things, right? And that's what you need to think about it. When you think about AI in a business perspective, think about it as I'm working smarter by using these tools correctly. So in this session, I'm going to kind of look at 4 aspects of how to use AI. I'm going to keep it quite, basic, but I can go into a bit of detail because, of course, I don't want to go into too much depth, and then we haven't even thought about the basics. But firstly, for market research, so if you're thinking about starting a business, or you want to write a pitch deck, or you're just thinking, is this a viable idea? These are ways that you can do that. Number 2, for content creation, social media. We can't deny how important social media is for business, or just marketing in general for content. My whole business has been run from social media. So how can we use AI to help us? Number 3 is for marketing, things like creating blog posts, SEO, customer engagement, things like that, and then understanding documents. I don't know if you're in a field where you've got loads of documents and you need to read tons of information. How can you do that quickly? So number 1 is Gemini. This is Gemini. I don't know how much, I know we're all like ChatGPT, but actually ChatGPT is actually the weakest link. When you look at AI, it's not the best or not the strongest out there. It was the first, it's the most known, but a lot of tools have come out after it, which are actually a lot better. So this is Gemini, so feel free to just go on. It's Google's product. And you can do loads of things on here, and I want to show you how you can do a few of these. So kind of testing the concept of your idea, trying to find trends, identifying business ideas, even if you don't even have an idea, but you know what field. So what I tried to do, I did this a couple of days ago. What is the gap in the market for fitness products for tall women? Okay, so not me. There's a tall woman, wants to create a fitness product. We know that leggings might be short, but what other gaps are there that are not filled in at the moment, and I want to create a business? So I plugged that in. That was my question. And then it said, here is the kind of plan that it's going to do. So it said, I input my question. Then it broke down the research for me. It said, okay, I started to look at the general product. These are the challenges that they face. Then it's going to investigate, and it looked at all these websites, Amazon, different clothing websites. It looked at Reddit, so it looked at questions that people were asking on Reddit, which is one of the best places to go to kind of know what people are talking about. It looked at just loads of different blogs, and there was a ton of more things, and we can look at it live together as well. Then it went into a deep dive of the market. It then said, okay, I've gathered information. There's a problem with like, maybe sustainable options, inclusive sizing. Tops are currently hold the largest market share. Maybe think about bottoms. And then some insights, they've got longer limbs. That's the problem. So maybe think about like joint stress, things like that. And also machines. Machines don't necessarily fit them properly. And then what's existing options, and then thinking about equipment gaps. So maybe rather than having a dumbbell that's X long, maybe do it a bit longer. I don't know, like it's kind of thinking about those ideas. And then it's saying, then it gave me a full report. And this report was like a couple of pages long, full detail. So it's untapped. This is the potential that you have. This is what you can do. They have a big segment of the market. Here's a good idea. And then it gave me my 3 options. Number 1, I can think about clothing. That's an obvious one. Think about the torso length, the shoulder, the cut, the style options. They might be a business that does it, but then maybe they only offer black and white, and not like the fancy ones that you can get from like Lululemon or whatever. There's not that. So think about style. And then here's opportunity. Maybe equipment. Think about equipment that's better for taller women, right? And then resources. So actually when I go on these websites or these Instagram pages, they're all for like 5'5" and not for the 6 foot, for example. So maybe think about like programs for tall women. So now I'm like, oh, you know what? I struggle with that as well, actually. Let me create X thing. Okay, so you can really see how this does that. So what I want you guys to do now, I'll give you 5 minutes or so. If you can open up Gemini, let's try and do it for your business idea. It doesn't matter, even if you've got the idea already and you've already started the business, it's always important for you to look at what's happening in the market. Maybe things are changing, maybe you need to pivot a little bit. So if you can go to Gemini, and then it's just here. So there's different kind of search terms. I'm not paying for this. You can, but I'm not paying for this. And I think what was the question I asked? What is the gap in the market for? So please ask your question. Make sure it's a good question as well. So what is the gap in the market for your topic? Because then it will give you specifically that thing. And then, as you can see, I'll get my report and then just press start research. And then it will start doing the research for you. So I'm just looking at this. Yeah. It was daily, it was Sunny, Bureau Daily. Find it? Bureau Daily.
Oh, Bureau Daily.
Yes.
Okay.
I've met you before, right? At Sheen's event. No.
Yeah,
What's
yeah,
that mean?
the professional. Girl,
Yeah. They've got one today. They've got an event today.
Oh, someone
Yeah.
I didn't know.
But it's in the E. It's later on, I think. Later on.
Oh.
Yeah.
There's quite a few of them.
Today, I know.
Security.
Yeah. It's happening today. Okay. How have you guys found it so far? So you can see this is the same as I had earlier. It's thinking. And when you look here, it's really interesting. There's like TikTok, there's Reddit, Amazon, Adidas. They're looking at everything. This would have taken you, imagine how long it would take you to go into every single one of these websites. Then it's looking at more. It's still going.
is great, I guess. That is why the research is going on so far.
Yeah, we can come back to it, but I'll continue and come back to it afterwards. But anyway, you can kind of see what you can do with this, and it really depends on, like you said, the prompt that you're putting in. If I just said to it, for example, tell me about tall women, then it would tell me, maybe they struggle with this, or tall women is that, and you maybe get, surface level information. Because I said, what is the gap in the market? It is looking at the market, and that is, the market is this. This is the market. It's social media, it's the internet, it's Adidas, the big competitors. It's, Reddit, where people are talking about, oh, I'm tall, where do you guys shop for X, Y, and Z? People are going to complain on there, and that it's pulling out all that information to then say, this is the gap. So imagine how many hours of time, and you can actually use this as a resource. If you end up writing a pitch deck, you can go on these Reddit websites, you can say, okay, actually look, this is what people are saying, where can I find swimsuits for tall women? I've never even thought about that. I've never even thought tall women need their own swimsuits, but of course they would, right? And can you imagine if you go into more depth, let's think about tall women. Let's think about like tall women, for example, burkinis, like what Muslim women would wear. I don't even think that's even been tapped into, because they're always, steps behind. So imagine now I'm thinking that is an amazing business idea, because no one's done it. Like actually, no one's done it. So, it really helps you. And even if you go down here, people are saying, actually, I'm not tall, but I've got a long torso, because you can still be short and have a long torso. So actually, it's not just tapping into the tall, but people that have different proportions as well. Or maybe someone who might be pregnant, who needs a longer top part. So, you're tapping into so many markets, but through this, I found such a niche conversation through using Gemini, and yeah, there you go. So here's the overview. It's giving you like a full overview about everything, and then it says so much information, and then this is the unmet need. Leggings too short, see-through, tops too short, short sleeves, swimwear, cycling, yoga mats. Oh, yoga mats. Never thought that they'd need long. These are such niche things I would never have thought about. But you're going to tap into such a big market through this, especially if you're someone who actually is tall and actually struggles with this. Then you're going to be like, you know what? There's a whole range of women or men who are struggling with this problem. Here's a business idea straight away. So that's the first way. So even if you've got your own business, so like for example me, I've had the Page Doctor for it's been nearly 5 years. So you'd think, oh, I don't need to do that, but actually I still do, because if I don't keep up with what's happening, it will just die. Now AI's come in, my business could die. So I need to look at, okay, what's trending, what do people want now, and I need to kind of keep up with it. So it's not just to be done for those that are thinking about business, but also those that have a business and need to keep up and keep pivoting and keep going. I would do the same thing, honestly. I would do the same thing. I would just do that. I would take up in the market for education, academia, and I'll see what's the gap now. Can I fill that gap with what I have already? Or like, how can I adapt what I have to address that gap currently? Or if you want, you can do this question and another one. I could say, I already have an existing business and this is what it does. Can you give me a gap at the moment that I could fill? We'll give you more information. It's all about the prompt. Yeah, it's actually, it's very overwhelming. The other day I asked ChatGPT, what's the worst thing about me? I was like, what does it know about me? And it wasn't a bad one, so I'm okay. It said, you do too many things at the same time. Too many things at the same time. And it's the thing, because when you see stuff like this, you're like, oh my God, I can create a map for people that are tall. And then you want to do the thing. So, I don't know, I think it could be a good or bad thing, depending on what kind of person you are. For me, this is a bad thing, because now I'm like, oh, I can also do that, Now in my head, I'm going to go home and say, oh my God, I need to create a tall women thing. So you need to be, obviously, have your direction, know what you want to create or what you want to start or what your skill set is in. If I now go and create a swimwear, that's nothing to do with anything I've done before. So it doesn't make sense. Even though there's a gap, that doesn't make sense for me to enter. So think about what you're doing, opportunities that are relevant to you, your skill set, your current business, your job, and your academia, and then it will make sense. Okay, so the second one is one that I really like, and this is for content creation and social media. So ChatGPT, I would say, even Gemini, but let's just stick with ChatGPT to change it up, is one of the best ones because it's just text, information, and brainstorming. But like I said, you can use Gemini, you can use DeepSeek, you can use Claude. They all do a similar job, but just for the purpose of using ChatGPT for now, it's the most common one. You can use this. So you can do, this is what I kind of do with it, essentially. I can create content calendars from it. I can get hashtag and caption suggestions. I can write blog posts and articles. And then, again, the key thing is when I'm writing it, I would say, make it sound chatty. Make it sound more light, not too serious. I try to avoid saying human, do you know why? Because I feel like it doesn't know, I don't think it knows what human is. So so for me, I'd say make it sound chatty and it sounds good. Yeah, or witty, make it sound light, add a joke, something like that, and it sounds a lot better. So these are three different things. So with the prompts. So for example, suggest 10 Instagram post ideas for promoting a zero waste lifestyle. So it will give you 10 ideas. What are some blog post ideas for a fitness brand targeting busy mums? What are some summer-themed post ideas for a vegan bakery, for example? So you can get different ideas for different things that you're interested in.
But if you want to stand out,
Yes,
you say that too, like I want to stand out.
I would say make it unique. Yeah, that's what I say, unique.
You still have to come up with the videos and pictures.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. This is it's doing that initial hard work for you. So let's say, so let's just take one example, and I'll show you what I would do. So let's take this one. Go to ChatGPT. Suggest 10, feel free to open ChatGPT if you want to do it. So suggest 10 ideas for a post. So this is really good, before and after. So now I'm like, that's a good idea. I just threw away, or I'm going to throw away my, deodorant because I realized that it's bad. So before I throw it away, let's take a picture of it and let's get my new one, take a picture of it, and that's before and after, for example. I don't know. DIY hack. And now you're thinking, what's one thing that I've made myself? So it's just helping you brainstorm a little bit. Maybe a grocery haul, showing how you maybe not take plastic bags and maybe put it into your own reusable bag. Cooking, show maybe a recipe made from scraps or leftovers. Or maybe a challenge, that'd be really cool, like a 5-day challenge. And this all builds your audience for your business, and it creates, it allows people who have a similar idea, mindset, interest to you to follow you, and then when you launch your business or when you launch a product or whatever, you have the right target market there for you, essentially. And we cannot deny how important social media is for business. You don't have to show your face, by the way. You don't have to show your face. Something like this doesn't require your face to be shown. Any business, honestly, doesn't. It's all about what you create and how you create it. So this one was the first one. Be very specific. So suggest 10 ideas. Sometimes I don't like any of the 10, and I'll say, give me another 10. But then direct it. Give me another 10. Make them more funny. Make them more unique. These are boring. Make it be direct. Why don't you like those 10? Make the 10 more for women. Make it more directed towards students. Just the specificity here is what's really important. And then for content calendars. So by content calendar, if you've got your business and you're trying to use social media, it can be really tiring and honestly just draining after a while. Thinking about ideas and themes and this kind of thing. Something like this is really useful. So you can say, this is my business. You tell the business, right? This is my business. I'm creating gym wear for tall women, and I've got a social media page. Give me a weekly schedule for this business. It will give you Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. This is what I think did I screenshot? Yeah. I'll go back in a second, but this is an example. An Instagram page about education and studying. So it said Monday, give a motivational theme. And I could say, you know what, guys, today's Motivational Monday. That's my theme for Mondays. And I'll give a quote and some sort of something interesting. Tuesday is a study tip. 5 quick tips on Tuesdays. Here's my Tuesday. And now I have this, and now I'm not having to think every single week, oh, what is it I need to do today? Or let's say you have a member of staff, someone who works with you, a help, someone who's assistant or a social media person. You can do this quickly. So I actually have a social media person for the Page Doctor. We just hired her very recently. She's amazing. But I still do this part of it, and then she will do the content side of things. This I would still do on ChatGPT, but I still modify it, so I don't copy and paste. So I don't necessarily so for example, behind the scenes, I don't really care about that. So I would change that to something different. So you still make it work for you, but now I've done this in 2 seconds as opposed to 2, 3, 4 hours. Yeah? Or sometimes I'll tell her, can you give me the captions? I've got the ideas, you give me the captions. And she'll use ChatGPT, get all the captions. Sounds good. Because she's not an academic by background. But she can get perfect captions, which actually shocked me. Because I'm like, how did she? But it was ChatGPT, and it sounds really good. So something like this is amazing. I can go back. What I can do is I can send the presentation to you guys on the ticket Eventbrite, if it makes it easier. And then the last one is hashtag suggestions. Again, really important. Some people say hashtags aren't important, but I spoke to a representative from Meta not too long ago, and she was like, you should still use them. So apparently it's still useful. Choose niche ones. Like, don't just say hashtag Dubai. That's got millions. Hashtag Dubai business owner. Hashtag Dubai AI student, or whatever, something really niche. Someone's looking for Dubai business, AI business, they'll find 100 posts rather than Dubai. Exactly. Yeah, that's what she said. Anyway, so I started using them a bit more. I don't know how much difference it makes, but you can find hashtags quite easily on ChatGPT as well. Trending hashtags or brand and community hashtags. Something, how you have cool hashtags that some certain communities might have that sound really interesting. I can't come up with them. ChatGPT can help me come up with something interesting. Okay, number 3 is for customer marketing and customer engagement. So this is where we're creating blog posts, for example, where thinking about, I think it's the same script. No, I don't know if I changed it. So we're thinking about how to retain our customers, how to market, how to blog posts. A lot of businesses that I find is through their blog posts. I don't know about you guys, but when I search for something, especially on Google, maybe not on ChatGPT, but on Google, number 1, I'll look at the blog post. For example, best headphone for the gym. You're going to go to a blog post that's saying number 1 is this, number 2 is this, number 3 is this. So many businesses I have found through their blog posts. And that, I think people really overlook how powerful blog posts are. And they can be written very easily using AI. So the first one is generating ideas for your blog post. 10 blog post ideas for small businesses, for example, like I showed you guys earlier. So the idea itself is a big help. And then actually getting an outline. So it tells me, number 1, do this, then talk about this, then number 3, talk about that. And it'll give me a nice outline. So I don't have to think about it. It's not an exam. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be written. And then actually writing it for you, I do get it to write for me as well. Again, like I said, it's not an exam, it's not for school, it's just going on a website. It doesn't have to be me that writes it. And then number 4 is SEO. So I could say, include more words about education. Include these specific words about education. So let's take a look. Again, please feel free to do it yourself as well. So let's take this. And you can see that I've said, please include a mixture of, and I always do this, include a mixture of paragraphs and bullet points. Because I hate, blog posts that are just one big paragraph. I like it when it's a bit of text, bullet points, a bit of text. And so you'll get that structure here as well. So you can see straight away, in today's fast-paced age, AI has emerged. And then I'll say to it, I'm from the UK, don't do this, and it will change it. Like the Z, the spelling. It's something as, as simple as basic as that. And then applications, here are practical ways. See, when I see this, I think to myself, this could be a carousel post. Let's say you had a business that was about AI in marketing. That could be a 5-slide carousel post. Number 1, customer engagement. Number 2, marketing. Number 3, and that's 2 bits of content through one result. And then they've given you some tools that you can use, like Canva, Grammarly, and then they've written a blog. But I think it sounds a bit too strict. I'm going to say make it sound more chatty. Example. So I think it sounds a bit better. Look, let's be real. Marketing can feel like, here's the good news. In fact, so it sounds a little bit more like, I'd actually write like this. So it sounds a bit better. Can you see? This sounds a lot more like a nice blog post that I can read. But I feel like there's not enough numbers in there. Add more stats. We need more percentages, a bit more data. So look, 80% of marketers. The industry will be this big, this many businesses. You can really see how I don't just take the first result and run with it. I will keep doing it. And then even the final result, I won't just take it. I will still kind of twist it a little bit, and then I'll do that. But this is not the academically correct way. This is for a business, it's a blog post, it's not being examined. If this is a test or an examination or school, we wouldn't be doing, this is not allowed, right? So I only use this when it comes to things that are going online that I don't, it's not fine, it's fine. Yeah. And then, if you had a staff member or someone who's working for you, show them how to do this and they can do this for you. Yeah.
Does it actually quote or actual studies that have been done or research that have been done?
So you can't trust it. The quotations you can't trust. So you can say, I can say, give me the citations.
Possibility that it misleads.
Yeah.
Okay. So if at all you're putting to a school or NGO or whatever, right? You need to have a curated content which is only accessed, or probably they will not mislead it, right? You have some content which will, if at all you're just doing for a school or a